Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to crochet this easy chunky beanie. This pattern is made to measure so you can adjust the height or the depth of the beanie and the circumference of the beanie to fit your own head size. So that means even if you're using a different yarn, you can still follow the pattern and make a beanie of your desired size. I'll show you how to adjust the depth and the circumference throughout the video. So the yarn I'm using is this one. It calls for a 6.5mm crochet hook, and that's what I'm going to be using. For this beanie, I only used one ball of yarn, which is 125 grams. So first, we're going to make a slip knot. So I just create a circle like this, and then grab this yarn, pull it like this, but not all the way through, and there's a slip knot. And then you insert your hook and tighten this knot. We're going to make a chain. To make a chain, you're going to yarn over and then pull it through the loop on your hook. This is chain 1. Yarn over, chain 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to continue chaining until this chain measures about 11 inches. So I got my tape measure here. 11 inches is this, which is about 28 centimeters. So as you can see, I've got an 11-inch chain here. This is gonna be the height of the beanie, including the fold over brim. So you chain 11 inches, right? Regardless of how many chains you have. So with this yarn, this hook, and my tension, I have 28 chains here. If you're using a different yarn, a different hook, or if your tension is different from mine, you might not need 28 chains to reach 11 inches. So if your 28 chains reaches here, not 11 inches yet, you're gonna chain more until it is 11 inches. So basically, it doesn't matter how many chains you need to make, keep chaining until it reaches 11 inches. So after that, you're going to chain one more, but remember this one because we're going to go back in this chain. You can place a stitch marker. So this is the last chain. Now we're going to chain one more to turn, and of course this turning chain does not count as a stitch. Okay, then we're going to work stitches in this chain. So in this marked chain, which is the second chain from the hook, 1, 2, we're going to make a half double crochet. So to make a half double crochet, we're going to yarn over first, and then insert our hook in this marked stitch, yarn over, pull it up. Now you should have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull it through all of the loops on your hook. Now I'm going to take out the stitch marker and place it in this stitch. A half double crochet looks like this. We have 3 loops there. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to place my stitch marker in the top 2 loops. If you stand it up like this, these are the top 2 loops. I'm going to place my stitch marker in the top 2 loops. So this is the first stitch of this row we're going to work. So as you can see, that chain is already worked into. The next chain is this one, In the next one, I'm going to work a half double crochet as well. Basically, I'm just going to work one half double crochet in each chain, but that chain is the next one. And again, to work a half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, that's the second half double crochet. That's the first one, that's the second one. We're just going to continue working this. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain, and pull this yarn up. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. Okay, so this stitch is basically what we're going to do for the entire row. So you're just going to continue working like this, yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain, pull yarn up, yarn over, pull through all, and work one half double crochet in each of the following chains all the way to the end of the row. So I'm at the last chain here, as you can see. In this chain, I'm going to work a half double crochet as well. And then I'm going to mark this stitch as well. So I'm going to place the marker in the top 2 loops. Okay, now as you can see, we have one row of half double crochets. We have the first stitch marked and the last stitch marked. So the reason why I marked these stitches is because we're going to work one stitch in each of these stitches. If you don't mark it, maybe you will miss the very last stitch and you'll be decreasing by accident, which is not what you want. You want to make sure you work one stitch in each stitch from the first one to the last one. So really remember to do this for each row. Mark the first stitch and the last stitch. On that note, if you continue working your rows, the edges look like this, you're doing it right. If the edges is shaped like that, this is caused by your rows getting shorter and shorter as you work them. That means you missed some stitches, probably on the ends, either this one or both. So that's why we mark these 2 stitches. Okay, so after I finish this last stitch, so row 2, at the beginning of the row I'm going to chain 1, and this chain does not count as a stitch. Sometimes when you work half double crochets, the pattern will say chain 2 as the first double crochet. So this chain 2 counts as a stitch, but with this pattern we're going to chain 1, and this chain 1 is just a turning chain. It does not count as a stitch. The last stitch is here, and this is the stitch we're going to work in for the first stitch of row 2. So you turn your work like that, and the first stitch is going to be worked in this marked stitch. That's a turning chain, which does not count as a stitch. So from the very first stitch, which is marked, I'm going to work one half double crochet in each stitch again, but from this row we're going to work in the back loop only. So as you can see, I have the top 2 loops marked. The loop that is further from me is the back loop. So I'm going to yarn over to prepare for a half double crochet, insert in the back loop only, like that. And then the rest is the same. Yarn over, pull it up, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. So this stitch is the first stitch of the second row, which is worked on this stitch. Okay, now I'm going to take the stitch marker out and place it in the first stitch of row 2. Again, in the top 2 loops. So these two. And then from the next stitch, I'm gonna work 1/2 double crochet in the back loop of each stitch. So you'll insert like that. In the back loop only, you see top 2 loops? Insert in that one. Yarn over, pull it up, 1/2 double crochet. So I'm going to do this in each stitch for the rest of the row. I'll see you near the end here. So as you can see, I'm near the end. That marked stitch is the last stitch. So that means I have 2 stitches left. I'm gonna work 1/2 double crochet in that one. And one last 1/2 double crochet in the marked stitch. Still in the back loop of that stitch. So finish this last 1/2 double crochet, and then you're gonna take out the stitch marker and place it in this new last stitch. In the top 2 loops as usual. So that was row 2. Row 2 should have the same stitch count as row 1. For each row, you should just have the same stitch count as the beginning chain. So for me, my beginning chain is 28 stitches. That means for every row, I should always have 28 stitches. If I have 27, that means I missed 1 stitch. And you have to redo that row to fix it. So from here, you're just going to repeat row 2 to work the panel. So that means when you finish a row, you're just gonna chain 1 as a turning chain, which does not count as a stitch. And then you turn your work starting from the first stitch, which will be marked. Work 1/2 double crochet in the back loop of each stitch. And very important, don't forget to remark your first stitch here. So this is the first stitch of row 3. Mark that stitch. And then from here, 1/2 double crochet in the back loop of each stitch. So you're gonna work like that all the way to the end again, and work your last 1/2 double crochet in this marked stitch. So continue working row 2, work your rows back and forth like that to make this rectangle longer in that way, and your edges should be straight. So like I said before, if the edges look like that, that means you're doing it right. If it's shaped like this, that means you're missing stitches here. And to prevent that from happening, mark your first and last stitch and make sure you work a stitch in both of them. So I'm just gonna repeat row 2 and work my way up like that. I'll meet you back here when I have my desired length. So as you can see, I have my rows here. I worked from this side back and forth all the way to here. So I decided to stop here because now this can stretch to my head circumference. My head circumference is about 21.5 inches. And as you can see, when relaxed, the rows is about 21 inches, but then I can stretch it to 21.5 inches. No problem. If you don't have a tape measure, you can just wrap this around your head and make sure this fits. It's okay if this is a bit tight around your head because crochet tends to loosen up over time. So after some time, it won't be as tight as it is now around your head. So how many rows I've done doesn't matter. just like how many rows you should do doesn't matter, as long as the rows can stretch to your head circumference. But if you want to know, I've done 32 rows here with this yarn, this hook, and my tension. So after I finish the last stitch here, I'm going to fold this piece like that and make the short ends meet, so I can join the first row to the last one. And I'm going to join them stitch to stitch. So first, you're going to insert your hook in the first stitch here in the top 2 loops, and then in the stitch, the first stitch on this end as well. This edge is not normal stitches, this is the beginning chain. So try to find your first edge and then insert in the top 2 loops as well. If you're not sure whether this is the first stitch, you can count from this end. So that's the first stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just need to make sure I have the same number of stitches as this edge. For this, I have 28 stitches. That means I should have 28 stitches on this end as well. So if I count from this end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's number 28. So from this end, that's my first stitch. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab the yarn over and pull it through all the loops on my hook. 2 and 3. So that's the first stitch. The second stitch, I'm gonna do the same thing. Insert in the next stitch in the top 2 loops, in the next stitch on this side as well. That's the first one, that's the second one. Insert like that, yarn over and pull it through all the loops. This is called a slip stitch. I'm going to do this 4 more times, making it 6 stitches in total, done like this. 1, 2, this is the third one, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This side is going to be the right side of the beanie, which is going to be shown on the outside. So then I'm going to flip this piece inside out, because this is the brim, right? That's the wrong side, that's the right side. If you have a fold over brim like that, that's the right side, which means this is the right side of the beanie as well. So if this is the right side, we're gonna sew this from the wrong side. I hope that makes sense. If you don't get it yet, that's okay. You just flip your work to this side, and then you do the same thing from the next stitch. So as you can see, that stitch is already worked into, the next stitch is that. So insert your hook and then find the next stitch on this edge as well, which is that one. So insert your hook and slip stitch. Again, if you're not sure whether the stitches match, you can count backwards. Okay, from here, you're just gonna continue doing that. Next stitch on this edge as well, slip stitch. I'll see you at the end of the row. So near the end, I have 2 stitches left. I'm gonna finish those 2 stitches. For this one, you should probably have a stitch marker here for this last stitch. But yeah, just finish the last stitch and then chain 1. Now we're going to leave a long tail and cut this yarn. The length should be enough to cinch the top of the beanie. So I left about 1 meter. cut and pull the yarn through. So now I need a yarn needle. And I'm just gonna go through the top loops on this edge in and out like this. And I'm gonna go all the way around. So I've come back around and then try to pull this as tight as I can. I have a beginning tail here. I'm just gonna tie them together as well. And as you can see, I still have a hole on top, but that's okay. We're gonna sew it shut. So I'm going to go through the edge of the hole here. Just go across it like that. And then I'm gonna go across from that side. Like that. And then I'm gonna keep repeating that from another angle until the hole is closed properly. That looks pretty good. I'm going to stop here and tie it up with this short tail again. Oh, by the way, before you do this, make sure this is the wrong side. You're going to fasten off on the wrong side. You can tell by the seam here. That's the wrong side. That's the right side. Wrong side of the brim, right side of the brim. I'm going to cut this yarn and then flip it to the right side so you can see. So as you can see, that's the top and this is the right side. Wrong side of the brim, but if you fold it over, we're going to have both of the right sides facing. And there you go, that's your beanie done.